Imagine asking something online, and instead of, the usual wall of links, you get a direct answer like really thoughtful, maybe with text, an image, even a video clip, all just perfectly tailored to what you asked. Well, that's not science fiction anymore. It's happening right now, and it's really shaking up how we find information. So today we're doing a deep dive into something called Generative Engine Optimization, GEO for short. It's this cutting-edge strategy that's becoming, frankly, essential for businesses, yeah, but really for anyone creating content who wants to stay visible in this new AI search world. Our mission today to really unpack what GEO is, why it's suddenly so urgent, how it's different from, traditional SEO, and most importantly, how you can start adapting your content, your digital strategy, like right now. We want to make sure your voice gets heard, your stuff gets seen, and you maintain authority. We've looked at insights from some top folks in marketing and strategy to help guide us through this. Okay, so let's dive in. What exactly is generative engine optimization? How is it different from what we've been doing for years?
Right. So generative engine optimization, or GEO, it's not just another buzzword. It's really the practice of optimizing your content, specifically for these AI-driven search engines and interfaces. We're talking Google Gemini, Chat GPT, Perplexity, Copilot, those kinds of platforms. Yeah. And the goal here, it's shifted. It's not just about ranking high on a list of links anymore. It's about making sure your brand's message, your information, is accurately represented and distributed inside those generative answers. It means positioning yourself as an authority in the AI results. So we have to understand how AI processes information, how it generates answers, not just how it crawls pages. It's a whole different way of thinking about content.
So it's about being the source of the answer itself, not just a pointer to it. That does sound like a really fundamental shift. What's making it so urgent, like right this minute?
Yeah, and what's really fascinating and maybe a bit scary is why this isn't just some future trend. It's needed now. That classic SEO real estate, the search results page we've all fought over, it's genuinely shrinking. Look, Gartner predicts that by 2026, that's not far off. A huge frickus. 40% of B2B queries will be answered entirely inside the answer engine.
Wow, hold on. 40%?
40%.
So nearly half of those searches, people won't even click through to a website. They get their answer right there in the AI box.
Exactly. Think about that journey. It's being completely rerouted for a massive chunk of users. The old funnel is collapsing into that single AI answer.
That really changes things. Are we seeing data on this already?
Oh, absolutely. The data is already rolling in. LinkedIn, for instance, they have that beta AI Insights panel that came out in 2024. It produces just one cited source per answer, just one.
Only one. That's tight.
Very tight. Significantly less room at the top. And then Microsoft Build 2024, they revealed Copilot's click-through rate on the answers it cites. It's an incredible 6 times higher than classic organic links.
6 times.
6 times. So if your content isn't formatted for these large language models for LLM retrieval, the sources say it basically vanishes from decision-maker shortlists.
That's a pretty stark warning. Invisible if you're not AI ready. And people are actually using these AI tools, right? It's not just hype.
Definitely not just hype. In 2024, ChatGPT alone flew past Bing in visitor volume. We're talking over 10 million queries a day. And others, like Perplexity, they're rocketing up too. Like a 212% search volume increase in the past year, 10 million monthly active users. User behavior is shifting fast. About 70% of Gen Z, they turn to these AI platforms first for quick answers. And maybe surprisingly, 70% of customers say they already trust the AI-generated results.
70% trust.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Gartner, again, they expect traditional search volume overall to drop by 25%. And organic search traffic potentially decreasing by over 50% as people move to AI search. So yeah, GEO isn't just important, it's rapidly becoming, table stakes, absolutely essential for visibility, for future-proofing.
Okay, that paints a very clear picture. Huge shift. So what does this mean for good old traditional SEO? Is GEO just kicking it to the curb, or is it more complicated?
That's a really good question, and it's super important to get this right. GEO doesn't replace traditional SEO. Not at all. It complements it. Think of it like building a really important specialized extension onto a solid house foundation. Classic SEO. Still incredibly valuable. It brings in that long-tail traffic. People searching for specific things, often still using traditional search. It works. But GEO protects your visibility, where these AI answer boxes are basically stealing clicks. It gets your answer into the AI's response.
Okay, so it's not a zero-sum game then. It's more like diversifying where your visibility comes from because the landscape is changing. What are the key differences we should really focus on?
Yeah, exactly. And the differences really highlight that nuance. Let's break it down. First, output focus, SEO. It's about ranking higher in that list of blue links. GEO. It's about making sure your content is seen as the best possible answer right there in the AI's generated text. Then, content format. SEO traditionally leaned heavy on text pages, backlinks. GEO needs adaptable, multimodal content. That means images, videos, interactive stuff. They're becoming just as crucial as text.
Right, multimodality. That feels like a big one. It's not just words anymore. It's how AI pulls together different kinds of information.
Precisely. And that ties into relevance versus optimization. SEO might reward stuffing keywords. GEO prioritizes context, clarity, a conversational tone. Much more natural, which affects search phrasing. For SEO, maybe you type best hotels Kerala. For GEO, you optimize for how people actually talk. What are the best family-friendly hotels to stay at in Kerala? See the difference?
It's much more natural language.
Exactly. And then the information output. Traditional search gives you a list of links to check out. Generative engines, they give you a direct summary, maybe with one source link if you're lucky. And this leads to the content goal, SEO's goal. Bring users to your website, GEO's goal. Make sure your brand is accurately represented by the AI engine, even if the user doesn't click through right away because you're cited in the answer.
Got it. I like that analogy we had. Traditional SEO gets your book onto the library shelf, makes it discoverable. But GEO, that gets your book highlighted on the librarian's recommended reads list, maybe even with a direct quote pulled out. It's about being the authority the librarian trusts, in quotes.
That's a perfect way to put it. You want to be that trusted source the AI librarian relies on.
Okay, so if that's the goal, being the recommended source, the trusted voice for the AI, how do we actually do it? This is where it gets really interesting. How do we do generative engine optimization? What are the practical steps?
All right, this is the how-to. The rubber meets the road here. There's several key strategies, and they touch on content, tech, and overall approach. First up, optimizing content for AI understanding. Really key tactic here. Break down your core content, FAQs, about pages, product details into short, digestible question-answer blocks. Think under 300 characters.
Okay, short Q&A blocks. Why that specifically?
It's because these large language models, they're trained to find and pull out direct answers. By structuring your content like that, you're basically pre-packaging the perfect little snippets the AI needs. You make it super easy for the AI to confidently grab your answer and use it.
Okay, so it's like spoon-feeding the AI the exact piece of information it's looking for already formatted.
Exactly. You also want to front-load context words like price, risk, timeline, ROI. Put them early, and importantly, embed your brand name early in those answers too. Something like, at Manhattan Bank, our Treasury API responds in 130 milliseconds. That tells the AI who owns that fact. Then there's tone. It needs to be conversational, right naturally, like how people actually ask questions. Use those long-tail question-based keywords we talked about. What are the best running shoes for beginners, not just best running shoes? Anticipate follow-up questions and answer them within the content. Aim for direct, brief, factual, easily understood answers. It's very similar to optimizing for position zero or featured snippets in traditional SEO.
Right, getting that top answer box.
Precisely, and crucial. Credibility. Back everything up. Facts, figures, case studies. LLMs reward sources they can verify, transparent citations. Oh, and quick governance point. If you use AI to help draft text, or for any snippets that might appear in AI answers, make sure they go through your existing AI governance process, especially for regulated industries or claims.
Good point. Compliance still matters. Okay, so that's content structure and style. What else?
Next is enhancing technical foundations and embracing multimodality. This gets a bit more technical, but it's vital. Add FAQ page and how-to schema markup to your relevant pages, like product pages or newsrooms. Follow Google's guides for AI overviews markup too, especially for quote examples. This is literally speaking the AI's language.
So structured data is even more important now.
Absolutely. But don't stop at text. Incorporate visuals, custom graphics, photos, infographics. They help convey information quickly. Experiment with video. Short-form video is fantastic for explaining processes, like a quick demo. Even audio, like podcasts or sound clips, can work, as AI is getting better at understanding and using different media types.
Right, catering to different ways the AI might present information.
Exactly. And the technical basics still matter. Optimize site speed. Make sure your site is accessible, alt text for images, clear navigation. That's good for AI and users. Use proper HTML tags. Make sure you're on HTTPS. All the usual site health stuff supports GEO too.
Makes perfect sense. A healthy site is a trustworthy site for bots and humans. Okay, so we've got content and tech. What about building that authority, making the AI trust us?
Yeah, that leads right into building authority and strategic distribution. This is huge. Maintain consistency across all your online presences, all your brand entities. Develop a solid, industry-focused backlinking strategy, quality over quantity. Leverage PR bylines, article placements, getting mentioned by influencers, press releases. These all signal authority to AI. And, really important, assign authors to your content. Create author bio pages. This adds immense credibility. It directly feeds into what Google calls EE experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
Ah, EET. So author bios aren't just vanity, they're an AI signal.
A big one. It shows the content comes from a real, knowledgeable person or entity. Finally, don't forget communities. Share your content where relevant. Think Reddit, Quora. Engaging there can subtly influence AI training data over time. Encourage user-generated content like reviews. Build a presence on LinkedIn or other relevant social platforms. AI learns from the whole web ecosystem.
So authority is built both on-site and off-site through reputation and engagement.
Precisely. And the last piece of the how-to puzzle is continuous testing and knowledge graph feedback. This isn't a set-it-and-forget-it thing. You should be, ideally weekly, asking the main generative engines, Gemini, Copilot, etc., the top 10 or so queries in your field. See what answers they give. How does your content show up? How does your competition?
So actively monitoring the AI's output.
Yes, it's active feedback. And when you update a page based on what you find, use the request indexing feature in Google Search Console. That gets the AI bots to recrawl it faster. Critical for quick iteration. And just be flexible. Be creative. Experiment with different content types, different Q&A formats. Use A/B testing if you can. The algorithms are constantly changing, so you need to be constantly testing and adapting.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of actionable stuff. It sounds incredibly powerful, but this space is so new. How do we actually know if any of this GEO effort is working? How do we measure success when the rules feel like they're still being written?
You're right. Measurement is definitely still evolving here. It's not as mature as, say, paid search analytics. But there are crucial ways to track progress. We focus on a few key performance indicators, KPIs. First, simple but important, answer box share. For your priority questions, what percentage of the time is your brand cited in the AI's answer? Then, that engagement delta we mentioned. Compare the click-through rate from Copilot citations versus your classic organic links. If you're seeing that 6x lift or something close, that's a strong sign your GEO is working.
That 6x number is definitely compelling, but
Yeah.
tracking that specifically feels like it might need new tools or approaches.
It does, and the tools are catching up. Another metric, more on the efficiency side, is draft to publish time. We've seen that using those Q-block templates can cut content formatting time by around 30%. That's a real efficiency gain for content teams. Beyond that, track overall impression metrics specifically for generative engines where possible. Some early reports suggest a 20% improvement in impressions with good GEO, and of course track the traffic and, ideally, conversions coming directly from AI platforms. This is where attribution is still tricky, but essential to figure out.
Okay, so what tools or methods can we use right now?
Well, definitely configure your web analytics, Google Analytics 4, for example, to track traffic coming from platforms like ChatGPT or Perplexity. Set up ways to see if that traffic converts. Use SEO rank tracking tools. Many are now starting to report on Google AI overview displays and specifically track citations within them. That gives you more granular data.
So the existing tool providers are adapting.
They are. And critically for businesses, add generative AI as a lead source in your CRM system. That lets you track performance all the way through the sales pipeline and actually measure ROI. Also, look into tools like HubSpot's AI Search Grader. You can give custom suggestions on how to optimize specific content pieces for these engines, but ultimately it's about continuously analyzing user behavior, watching the AI outputs, and refining your strategies using a mix of whatever tools, free or paid, give you the best insights right now.
What a fascinating deep dive. Generative engine optimization. It really feels like a profound shift, not, as you said, a threat to traditional SEO, but it's necessary, maybe inevitable evolution. Adapting early seems key. It can really position your content, your brand as that trusted, reliable source in what's clearly a rapidly changing information world.
Absolutely. The whole landscape of search is changing incredibly fast. And the businesses, and really individuals too, who get their heads around this and adapt first, they're going to see significant rewards. Visibility, authority, engagement. They're all tied together here. It's a really dynamic, honestly, exciting time to be creating and optimizing content.
Definitely feels like a pivotal moment.
It does. And maybe here's a final thought for everyone listening. As AI becomes this primary curator of information, constantly refining its answers, how might that change not just how we search, but maybe even what we expect from information itself? More directness, less exploration. And for you personally, How does this shift things? How do you value deep, long-form content versus these concise, direct AI answers? And maybe more importantly, how can you master creating and consuming both in this new era?
Okay.
Something to think about.